Well, good morning and welcome to the November 21st meeting of the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board. Appearing, Carol, to have a quorum. I'm going to call the meeting to order. You have been furnished with copies of the minutes of our prior meeting. Are there additions or corrections? Shall we approve them? Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. Mark, is this the time that you'd like to make your introduction?
He is outside and coming in just a second, so if I could have a brief moment.
Sure, that'd be great. Right. Well, while we're waiting, let's take up item 3 on the agenda. You have in your packet the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditure Report for the period ending October the 31st and the MAPS 3 Budget and Obligations Report. Any comments, David?
Well, we'll go over them briefly. On the revenue side, for the month, there's $4,288. The fiscal year, there's $1,394,627, and for total revenue to date of $832,322,812. On the expenditure side for the month, there's $8,297,943. Fiscal year of $30,832,672. And total of $610,413,423. And as you said, you also have the budget and obligations report in your packet. I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
Michael Adams, any comments for us to consider?
I move we receive the report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we receive the Revenue and Expenditure Report and the Budget and Obligations Report. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is received. Now take a point of personal privilege to introduce Councilman Mark Stonecipher, who has a guest that he wants us to meet today. Mark?
Thank you. We have a guest here today. It's Mayor Alan Scott. Mayor Alan Scott is from the town of Bryant, Arkansas, which was a city founded in 1835. Within the last 20 years, it's had exceptional growth. It's gone from about 2,000 residents to 20,000 residents, and I had the privilege of meeting him on a land usage issue with a client of mine over in Arkansas, and I was telling him about MAPS, and he was fascinated with it, wanted to come over and see more about it, learn more about it. Bryant is a great city, a beautiful little quaint town. The mayor likes to say it's a small town, but it has the amenities of a large city. It's about 15 miles southwest of Little Rock. And so we're honored to have him here today. If you could come up to the mic for a second, Mayor. We have a little gift that
Thank you for
Chairman
having me.
McDaniels would like to give you.
Mayor, my name is Tom McDaniel. I'm
Nice to meet you, sir.
Of the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory
thank
Board.
you.
We're delighted to have you here.
Thank
and it's
you.
really particularly an honor for me because I went to grade school in eastern Oklahoma, and I know exactly where your town is. I was able to get a date to go to a movie. I went to Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Well, there you go.
From Stigler, Oklahoma.
Well, there you go.
So
I appreciate that.
So we're delighted to have you here.
Thank you so much.
A replica of the seal of
thank you.
Oklahoma City, and welcomed our city into the MAPS meeting.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for allowing me to walk.
The other thing I would say, and I think it's worth noting, that the mayor was a full-time teacher and taught physics and biology and other subjects, but on January 1 of this year, he started full-time as the mayor. They do not have our form of government, the city manager council, and so he wears the hat of not only the mayor, but also the city manager. They just submitted their balanced budget for the year, and he's going to take a tour today with David Todd, and we're most appreciative you came here and to visit.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we're just delighted that you could come, and I wouldn't want to give you the impression that there's been a lot of rough play here just because I have this. We actually get along pretty well. Pretty well. Well, all right. That takes us then to item 4 on the agenda, the proposed meeting schedule for 2020. David?
In accordance with the Oklahoma Open Meetings Act, we're required to post these meetings in advance. So this is routine. We've done this every year.
And these would generally follow the same pattern we've had in the past?
Yes, sir, exactly.
Okay. Any questions for David on that?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the meeting schedule for 2020. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The schedule for 2020 is approved. Item 5, David.
Excuse me. Item 5 is recommend resolution approving change order number 17, MAPS 3 Convention Center, increase of $301,785, project M3-C003. There's a lot of routine items on here that you see during construction for a project this big. There are some credits you'll see, but the most significant item on here is the public safety network infrastructure. So this is to help with the first responders' radios. If they're on the fourth floor and they need to talk to somebody on the first floor, the interference of the materials could hinder them being able to communicate. The odd thing is we don't know whether that happens until the building's built. And after the building's built, it's very difficult to put this in. So we don't know that this is going to be absolutely required, but I probably will recommend to you that we do that just for the safety of our firefighters and police officers. But what this does is this puts in the infrastructure, the conduit and electrical and that kind of infrastructure that's above hard ceilings. So the worst case would be that we finish the building, find out we got to have these, and then we got to go take out ceilings to add this. So there more than likely will be another item that is described much like this for this public safety network. So I don't want you to think this is it, and when that time comes, you'll know why we're doing this. But it is estimated that if we waited until the end and we did this infrastructure, it'd be 3 times the cost because of tearing down ceilings and things, and it would also delay, obviously, the opening of the convention center. So we're recommending that we put that infrastructure in now. And this comes with the approval from the subcommittee.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution as presented. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 6, David.
Item 6 is recommend resolution approving change order number 18, MAPS 3 Convention Center, increase of $2,738,562, project M3-C003. So staying with the convention center, this item is a distributed antenna system, or DAS for short. This is not Wi-Fi. This is actually cellular antennas. So when you're in a big event, if you're at the Chesapeake right now, there is an existing DAS that accepts your phone within the arena and directs it to the proper carrier in a room, and then it goes out to their lines, and that keeps you from having trouble connecting when there's 20,000 people in there. So likewise, when we have this convention center, there will be thousands of people in there, and we'll have the same issue. So we are proposing that we add this distributed antenna system into the project. If we do it this way, similar to the public safety thing also, we do that now before all the ceilings get put in. The one that we're recommending here is also the top-of-the-line Cadillac, if you will, fiber optic system that has twice the lifespan of the one that uses coax cable. And we also have the ability that should the Cox Convention Center go away, which is where the DAS is right now for the arena, we can connect this one to the arena, and it will be a significant upgrade and won't be any additional cost for that. So this also comes with the recommendation from the subcommittee.
Move the resolution. Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Just want to add, there was a thorough discussion of these at the subcommittee meetings, and lots of questions about both of them. So would want you to know that we looked at this carefully, and also want you to know that this is well within the convention center budget and is not any addition to the budget at all. So we have the money to do this, and the committee has thoroughly studied it. So it comes with their recommendation.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
Chairman. So I think we need to do it, and it makes sense, but was this something that was not part of the original budget or unforeseen or a change in technology? What kind of?
We had it in the original documents. We took it out because of two things. Budget. Our estimates put us right at the line for the budget, but also just technology. If we bid it 2 years ago and then it doesn't get installed for another year, we could be losing significant technology, which I think we've seen by being able to do the fiber optic system. So yes, it was always anticipated that it would be put in there. There were some still up in the air as to how that would be funded. This keeps it from having to come out of the general fund.
Other questions? All right, we have a motion before us. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 7, David.
Item 7 is recommend joint resolution approving change order number 15, maps 3, Scissortail, Upper Park, increase of $30,069.08. Project M3-P006/WC-0920. So as we try and wrap up the construction, going through punch list items, we have this additional change order. There will probably be one more coming. I will tell you that these items have already been done in an effort to get the opening done when it had to be done. So as I said, most of it's routine things. If you have a question on one of the items, I'll be glad to try and answer it.
Any questions? Been moved and seconded that we approve this joint resolution approving the change order for the Scissortail Park. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 8, David.
Item 8 is recommend resolution waiving consultant selection procedures and approving architectural services contract with Frankfurt Short Brugia Associates PC, Maps 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 2, locker room expansion, fee of $81,118, project M3-H003C. If you'll recall, last month this body approved an additional $1 million to go to Wellness Center 2 to expand their locker rooms. Council subsequently approved that, so this is the architectural fee to do that work. It didn't make sense to do an interview and pick somebody else. FSB did the work on this facility, so it makes all the sense in the world just to continue to use them. So that's why we waived the consultant selection procedures.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution as presented. Is there further discussion? Questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 9, David.
Item 9 is recommend resolution ratifying and approving addenda numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, Maps 3 Whitewater Facility Double Occupancy Surf Machine, awarding contract to Downey Contracting, LLC, base bid only, $1,964,697, and approving contract and bonds project M3-R008A. This is a project that was bid in its usual manner. We received 3 bids technically, and one of those was rejected because of irregularities. But we ended up with 2 bids, one from Downey Contracting, who, if you recall, did the construction at the original Whitewater facility, and then from Wynn Construction for $2,141,000.
This was discussed yesterday at the River Subcommittee that Dee and Mike both attended. Dee chaired the meeting, and we have Mike here, and we don't have a recommendation from that committee, so I wanted to give Dee and or Mike, either one, the chance to tell us their interpretation of what we heard yesterday and any guidance they might provide for us for today. And then we have Mike here to answer any questions that we have. I do want to say this too. A fair amount of the discussion that went on was about the bid that was irregular. I mean, that bid was like $730,000. I mean, it was so far much lower that it caused everybody in the room pause to say, how could one bid be $1.9 million, one be $2.1 million, and the third bid be $700,000? And I think we all got satisfied that that bid was, not only did it have irregularities, but probably was not a bid that would have provided the the specifications that we were looking for, but it did cause a lot of discussion, which I thought was all good. It was all good, but in this instance, the recommendation wasn't that we take the low bid because it had fatal flaws, I think would be a fair statement about it. And so, Michael, you want to start and then Dee can wind up? Is that okay?
Well, I guess just to follow up on your comment regarding the low bid, as I understand, Pacific Surf Designs is one of the manufacturers of these facilities, and they basically just bid, here's the price for the equipment.
Yeah.
They said in their bid, this does not include installation, this does not include all the other stuff. So obviously it didn't meet our specs. The explanation here kind of indicates it's a paperwork thing. I think it's much more troubling than just a paperwork issue. It didn't actually install the thing, so that doesn't help us much. I guess I would also point out, I think this I don't know if it's clear here, but this bid came in considerably higher than our estimate, $500,000 or so higher than our estimate. So that was also a concern that was expressed. And there was a lot of discussion there about why that was, and David can probably elaborate on some of the complications related to this particular project that may have resulted in a higher bid than we expected. Ultimately, we had kind of a split vote, and we're basically getting passed on up to the board to address. Didn't come with a recommendation either way from our subcommittee. My thought is that we've previously approved $7.9 million for the river. This is one of the items that the operator is recommending and says they want to move forward with. It's I think a piece of or an attraction that will increase revenues there, and that's also very critical. I think at this point in time that we ought to be concentrating on features that are going to increase revenues at the Whitewater facility. And let Mike comment on this, but I think this is the one that they're saying they would like to see done. And so some of the other stuff that was obviously some of the other stuff that was on the 7.9 list won't be able to be done. We pointed out we probably shouldn't be counting on any more money. So we've got a list of we only have so much to spend, and make sure that this is the one that we want, one of the projects we want to go forward with. And I'll let Mike kind of make that point. But that was my thoughts. So.
Okay, I really had complete sticker shock at the $500,000 price tag, and I was like stunned. After thinking about it and taking it into consideration, this is such a unique attraction for Oklahoma City. I think the surf machine is a great idea. If it brings in revenue, we certainly need to have it. So I think after really thinking of it a lot over the last couple of days, I would say that we go ahead and recommend this and move forward on this project.
Yeah, I want to add too, I was at the meeting, I was very impressed. David had the city budget director come, and Doug came in and explained the financial aspects of it, and I thought did a really good job of making it where we could understand it. We're going to make, if we make this investment, there will be, they think it will produce a net income of $250,000 a year, net profit each year. And Mike said in that meeting, and Doug said in that meeting, that these were very conservative estimates. And so, I mean, if they are conservative, and the people who know how to judge that represented to us that they were conservative, then there would be a pretty quick return on our money here. And as you all know, kind of the long-term plan out there is that we're trying to have more revenue-producing capability, and I think this is a key part of that plan. Part of the discussion is what do we do when the bids come in a lot higher? And so I'll just remind you, this isn't the first time this has happened to us. And each time that we've done it, if the operator said this is what we think we need and this is important for the project, we have said, okay, if we do this, know that you're going to have less money for succeeding projects, and if you give this priority, then that's a recommendation to us. And so I just add that to say we do have the money to do this. It probably means we'll have to look at things down the road with a very close eye, because we may not be able to do everything that we had included on that list for the river when we agreed to give them the $7 million. And I think Mike understands that. So if you all have questions for Mike, well, he's here, of course. If you're ready for us to take it up, well, that's good too, either way. So here we are. Sue.
I have a comment I'd like to make. The River Subcommittee has really had a lot of work to do, and it's been a challenge. It's something that we don't really know. And we've done a very good job, I think, as a board of supporting the ideas and helping with the budget so that we can grow this opportunity for our city. I have a couple questions for Mike.
Good. Mike, would invite you to the podium.
So, Mike, one of the things that maybe I don't realize, besides the river committee that we have through MAPS, you have another committee also, right, at the river that kind of helps with your planning and your budgeting and things like that. So this has been vetted through all of that, too. And so I wonder about timing for you.
Yeah.
So is that critical right now?
Yeah, it's very critical right now. We are, we're in our off season now, and for us, I mean, really time is money here, because, because we have to put these things in to really recognize the revenue impact now, so they would be open by the peak season that would start in March. We were hoping by spring break, if at all possible. It really doesn't do a lot of good if we wait till August to put in a surfing machine and you don't have much time. So we're concerned about that aspect. And you're right, this has been well vetted. In fact, I do want to emphasize that I've been looking at these since 2013, and figuring out how, because we feel like it really blends well with what we're doing down there. And it will be the first in Oklahoma, which is a great thing to promote, that this will be the first opportunity to actually surf in Oklahoma. And so we've had to kind of incorporate that into our messaging going forward, just because this is the time we have to sell passes too. And so we were not, I was not thrilled by the responses to the RFP myself. I think it seems like everything we've done has had that impact. I don't know if it's because it's so specialized or what, but I will say this. Right now in Orlando, Florida is IAAPA. It's the world's largest attractions trade show, and at that show all of these vendors are there. And so Stephen Ball, my chief operating officer, is there right now, and of course they're asking about this. And what we're understanding is we think there's a lot of room to do some value engineering on this, to maybe not get it back to that original thought, but I think there's room, because we're realizing there were things that were perhaps over-spec'd that we didn't realize, that the manufacturer said, maybe we don't need this size of water line or this size of piping or this kind of enclosure. So we've done that before with the Whitewater Center, and generally you can't have that discussion as we understand it until we award the bid. But once we do, we've had good experiences in the past, as I think other projects have, of working with the contractor to streamline the project. On the other side of this, there's other revenue generating projects that were part of the plan, like a zip line that we know. And from discussions we've had there and what we put on the budget, we feel like that has the opportunity, I'm not going to promise it, to come in lower than what we had originally thought. And as Mike had mentioned too, we understand absolutely that there would be some adjustments to be made later on in the project. Just like we did when the Whitewater project was built, we were really focused on those things. We didn't want to compromise the quality of that. Just like we want to do this right. And subsequent to making those decisions, we're going to be having the Olympic trials here in May again. If we had cut corners, that may have not happened, but we did cut out the grandstand. But that didn't really have a major economic or impact. So we made those choices. I think there's similar things here, and we've already planned that would be cut out if we had to. And there's also development opportunities to raise money to support the back end of this project as well with time. So we feel like this is a priority right now. We feel like it has a great revenue impact, and so we're certainly hoping we can move forward with it. So.
Hey, Mike, could you paint a picture? What I'm having trouble understanding about the surf machine is usage, and what I mean by that is, well, 100 people use it an hour, 100 people a day, and then if I'm bringing my kids out there, what's the cost that's going to be incurred?
Well, it's kind of an interesting, the reason we chose this is because of the throughput and because of the widespread appeal. According to the manufacturer, and Stephen Bolligan, my chief operating officer, worked for a company before that installed 4 of these, and they've had great success in the locations. Up to 400 people per hour, because there's 2 people side by side. You might think, gosh, that seems like, are they surfing for a few seconds? And that is, some people get on, they fall off, and they get back in line. Others get on, and they stay on. And you program it in such a way that there will be certain times that people just, like your peak times, where people line up and they do it. And then there'll be other times you have sessions where you might have groups that either reserve it, or you might have people ride longer. There are 2 price points here. One would be the single-use price point, which we think falls in line with like all of our other single-use experiences, which would be $19. To put that in perspective, there are some venues around the country that install just the flow rider, and they build food and beverage around it, and it becomes an attraction. And that's a great factor, is it improving the boost food and beverage, because it's people love just watching it. And so in some of those single-use places, they're charging like $45 an hour to do it. It's kind of like iFly. You spend $90 to skydive for a few seconds. And in our case, we see it as part of $19 gets you a full day. If you just want to do the flow rider, you just keep doing it over and over. And that was contemplated in the pro forma. The one thing that we think actually has the greater opportunity for financial impact is how it will influence what we call Epic Pass or Season Pass sales, because having new things, has a big impact on that, and especially something that broadens the demographic. 4-year-olds can do this. 60-year-olds can do this. And it's something for everyone. And so we think that and that was not contemplated in the pro forma. We think there will be a big uptick in just the pass sales, which is why it's important to get out now, because of the season pass aspect of it all. So we think it's really going to be a great addition, really fun to watch, and it really fits into that kind of active adventure play concept that we have going. And there's camps, youth programs, a lot of other things that kind of fill in the other opportunities. So that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions for Mike, Bob?
Mike, is the surf machine going to be a separate location at Whitewater as opposed to being in the channel that's used for the whitewater rafting?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is standalone, and the reason for that is we can calibrate some of the waves in the whitewater, and some people try to do some surfing in those waves. It's a little more skill required for that, but it's very time-oriented, only when a certain number of pumps are on. So this will be on the side of the whitewater, which means it will always be just surfing all day long. And we do surveys, and a lot of people want more water attractions, and so it'll give a water attraction right next to the whitewater center and right next to the restaurant, which is the other important piece of that puzzle. So
okay. And if I'm understanding the resolution, we're recommending acceptance of the base bid, but not alternates 1 and 2. What were those alternates?
One of them was to go with a refurbished machine instead of a new one. And actually, because of the price points, the Pacific Surf was here, the refurbished was still higher than the brand new Pacific Surf, so we didn't take that alternate. And the other one was for a heater for the water, and we just didn't see that having the value.
Are we still likely to buy the equipment from Pacific Surf, and then we'll actually do the construction of the...
That'll be the contractor buying that. It's all in that 1.9 that he'll buy that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mike.
Sure. Thank you.
If my memory serves me, didn't we have sticker shock when the original project came in for the river?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And was not Downey Construction awarded
Yes.
that project as well?
Yes.
So, and I remember some value engineering and some hand-in-hand working in what I would say a great partnership between Downey, the project itself, and the city. So in my mind, I think they've become really good stewards. I mean, we see their work every day in Scissortail Park as well. And they're willing to be a great steward of all these pennies that we all watched together. So I have a lot of faith in their ability and in their price tag too. You know, and if there is some value engineering and some things that can happen along the way to lower that, then I think they've proven time and time again. I'm also of the feeling that the lowest bid isn't always the best bid. And obviously there's a lot of issues here, but you know, sometimes it does take looking at that next step forward for things that make logic and sense in moving forward. And I think this company has demonstrated time and time again that whatever we throw at them, they seem to be able to rise to the challenge and handle. So.
All right. Yes.
I'll move the resolution.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution as presented. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is adopted. Michael, thank you, and thank you for your good work. Sue, I wanted to add one thing about your question. There is a Boathouse Foundation for whom Mike works, and so they have, do they not, a contract with the city, Michael? So there is a board out there, and I mention that because I'm on that board and get to see a lot of the things that come before them. They have a very strong board that was reinvigorated recently. When we agreed to give them the additional money, the city made some requirements for us to be able to feel good about granting the additional money that we did out of excess funds. And they have a very strong board, and as you've heard Mike mention, they've hired this fellow named Steve. Yeah, that has operated these parks, including Frontier City here, and so we have. I think there is really a sense that we're really on the right track out there, and so I'd want all of you to feel good about that as well, because I think there's a bright future there. And many thanks, Mike, for coming. You bet. All right, that brings us then to item 10, is it, David?
Yes, sir. Item 10 is recommend resolution ratifying and approving addenda numbers 1, 2, and 3, MAPS 3 Modern Streetcar Mainline additional improvements, awarding contract to Traffic and Lighting Systems, LLC, base bid number 2, $670,000, approving contract and bonds, and authorizing use of excess collections and/or interest from the Oklahoma City Capital Improvement Sales Tax Fund in the amount of $700,000 to fund the contract and change order contingency, project M3-S008. So to be clear, this is asking for additional money. I'll start with that. But this is part of, if you also recall, we set aside $4 million, or this body set aside $4 million, of which $3 million has been approved by council and we've used for various things. This would be into that additional $1 million that was previously set aside. So the bid that was sent out for this item included the items that the state safety office wanted, and that is the infill of the leaning rails, the bumpers, and I'm forgetting what the skirting around the traction power substations. Thank you. It also had in the bid to do the electrical and signal work for the 5th Street turnback. Remember, we put the rail in on 5th Street, and they can use that now, but they have to do it manually. They have to have flagmen. They've yet to have to use it, but all of that equipment would have electrified that. The entire project came in at right around $2 million, and it would have taken all of the money, everything that the streetcar has in their account right now, plus maybe a little additional. And there's still some things that Embark has that they want to buy, like parts specifically, things that they need to buy to have a well-stocked maintenance facility. So I got together with Embark and we made the decision that we would forego the electrical and the signal work on the 5th Street, concentrate on the state safety office stuff and keep that money so that they could continue to buy parts and things. So we discussed this in the subcommittee. There wasn't a quorum, but they recommended that we send this on.
Any comments, Nathaniel?
I do have two quick questions.
You bet.
So the $4 million that was put aside by the streetcar subcommittee and the city council was put back into excess collections?
Okay, the $4 million we're talking about is that plan that this board approved.
Okay, all right, now that clarification makes sense.
Right, and then
then
council has subsequently approved $3 million of that
Right.
for things, so there's
Okay.
still a million there.
it was just that nomenclature there. And so if base bid number 2 is $670,000, why are we approving $700,000?
Because I need a little bit of contingency.
Okay, I'm clear. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Are there further questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's adopted. The next item is item 11. Any new business to be considered today? All right. We have then item 12, the subcommittee reports. Any subcommittee items that have not been discussed earlier here? All right. David, it's time for your update. Any additional things you want us to know about?
I just want to add that as far as senior wellness, we have the Wellness Center 1 in design for those additional improvements. We talked about the contract to start design on Wellness 2. Wellness 3, the site's been selected and design has begun with the operator on that, and also with Wellness 4, the design has begun. Trails and sidewalks, we've pretty much wrapped up that work, but there's some additional monies, and we're looking at some additional projects to do on that. Convention Center is going well. Work at the fairgrounds has begun, those additional things that were approved last month. Lower Park design continues with the plan to having plans for construction out in early spring of next year. And then we talked about the streetcar. The only other thing I want to mention is, I think most of you know, and a lot of you heard yesterday, but I just want to publicly say it, Wayne Corvell has been with the city for 30 years. He's been in our office for 12 or so, 10 or 12. He's retiring. This will be his last meeting, and he'll retire December 12th. And I just want to thank him for everything he's done for the MAPS program. I don't know how I would have done it without him. He's been an invaluable employee, and I just want to congratulate him on his retirement.
Well, I want to add to that, Wayne. I'd like to ask staff, and with David's help and maybe Carol with your help, if you guys could draft a resolution of appreciation to Wayne from the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board, because like David and like the other members of the staff, he has been an invaluable contributor, and most of us, many of us have been here since the inception, and so has Wayne, and he's been a great partner and a great advisor to us from the very beginning. So I would really like for you to have, even though he may not be here, a resolution for us for our next meeting. Yeah, and for us to express our great appreciation for his great service to the MAPS 3 endeavor. Mark, you want to add?
I bet we can get him to come.
Okay, well, I'll leave that. I hope that he can, but we would love to have a resolution of appreciation for Wayne, because he has been a great teammate for us. All right, that brings us then to comments by other members of the board. Anyone have anything else they want to bring before the board? Staff, Carol, we okay for today? All right, then this is the opportunity that citizens have that would like to make any comments. Do we have citizens that want to be heard today? If not, that brings us to item 15, and Nathaniel wanted to move that we adjourn, seconded by Kim. Were there any further discussion on that? All in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you.